Welcome to our channel, all friends. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon to stay update for new videos. Thanks. Let's start new video. Hearing Ramiz's words, I was utterly shocked. I sat at his feet and started crying, but Ramiz had turned into a stone statue. He pushed me away with a jerk of his foot, and I fell backward. He began to say, "How long am I supposed to live with a barren woman like you? There's such a big mansion, so much wealth, property, so much land in the village. If I don't have children, what will become of it all? My brothers will take control over everything. That's why I want to have children. But your barren womb has ruined my life as well. No matter what, I will get married again." Saying this, Ramiz got up to leave the room. I ran and sat down at his feet, pleading, "For God's sake, don't do this to me. For you, I left my home, crossed my father's doorstep. In your love, I left everything and came to you. And now you talk of leaving me just because of children?" Ramiz looked at me with hatred and said, "I wish I had known you were a barren woman. I would have never married you." I said to him, "What is my fault in this? These are all the decisions of fate. This was written in my destiny. I still have hope in my Lord that soon my arms will be full with a child." I could not in any way agree to the idea of my husband taking another wife. That's why I kept pleading with him. Ramiz gave me a deep look and said, "Fine, if you get pregnant within 3 months, I won't even think about a second marriage. But if that doesn't happen, I'll divorce you and marry someone else." Saying this, Ramiz walked out of the room with quick steps, and I was left behind, hitting my chest, crying and shedding tears. I had never even imagined that fate would betray me like this, that my husband would talk about marrying someone else. The same husband who used to love me immensely, whose love I took great pride in, for whom I had crossed the threshold of my home. That same husband was now talking about marrying again. I sat on the floor, leaning against the bed, and kept crying. Just then, my new servant, Gulrais, entered the room. I don't know what work he had come for, but seeing me, he froze in his tracks. He was a 25-year-old young man. I had recently hired him to work in the house. Looking at me with surprise, he asked, "BBG, what happened? Is everything okay?" Hearing his words, I looked at him with hatred and said, "Get lost, mind your own business. You're a servant, stay like one." Hearing my words, he instantly went quiet, picked up a file, and left the room. Perhaps Ramiz had asked him to bring that file. After he left, I broke down crying again. That poor guy wasn't even at fault, but I had taken out the frustration of my inner void on him. I don't know how long kept crying like that, and then eventually fell asleep on the floor itself. When I woke up, Gulrais was sitting very close to me and quietly watching me. As soon as I opened my eyes, he stepped back immediately. I also got up in alarm and asked angrily, "What is this behavior? What are you doing in my room, and why were you so close to me?" He instantly became embarrassed and said, "BBG, please forgive me. I thought you might have fainted. You didn't look well, so I just came close to check on you." I snapped at him, "Don't ever do this again. Otherwise, before I even react, Ramiz will kill you. He is extremely sensitive when it comes to me. He will never tolerate another man even coming near me. Even if I die, don't come close to me." Hearing my words, Gulrais stepped back and quietly said, "BBG, I just came to ask if you wanted dinner." I said in anger, "I'm not hungry. Go and mind your own business." Without a word, he turned and left the room. I got up and went to the washroom. After washing my face and hands, I sat back down. After thinking deeply for a while, I made a firm decision. I would keep myself completely fit, stay ready for Ramiz, and shower him with so much love and attention that he wouldn't even think about a second marriage. Even though I didn't feel like it, I picked out a beautiful outfit, wore matching jewelry, and got ready, waiting for Ramiz. But even by 11 at night, Ramiz didn't come. I had been hungry since morning, and my condition started to worsen. Out of necessity, I left the room and walked to the kitchen. That's where I saw Gulrais. A soft smile appeared on his face when he saw me. He said, "BBG, should I serve the food?" I asked in surprise. "You still haven't gone to the servant quarters? What are you doing here? It's 11 o'clock. Your shift ends at 10. He replied, BBG, I knew you hadn't eaten anything today. You didn't have breakfast, lunch, or dinner. That's why I stayed back, so that when you felt hungry, I could serve you. I was surprised to see how much he cared about me, while the other servants always kept to themselves. They had all finished their work and gone home. Golraiz's duty was only to wash the dishes, not to serve food. Still, he had stayed back just for me. Softly I said, I'm hungry. Please serve the food. He quickly heated the food and set the table for me. Once it was served, he stood silently to the side. I told him, if you want to go to the servant quarters, go ahead. I'll clean up the dishes myself. But he refused and stayed standing there. I started eating very slowly, constantly glancing at the clock. I kept thinking, Ramiz had never been this late before. Why was he so late today? Finally, when I couldn't hold back any longer, I picked up the phone and called Ramiz. I was still sitting at the dining table, and Golraiz was also there. After several rings, Ramiz finally picked up the phone, except it wasn't Ramiz who answered. It was another woman, and that immediately made me alert. I asked in surprise, who are you and where is Ramiz? She replied with a smile, Sir just stepped into the washroom. I'm his secretary speaking. I asked her why he hadn't come home yet and where they were. She went quiet for a moment and then said, there was a get-together at one of Ramiz Sir's friend's place, and he brought me along. He'll drop me home first and then go back to his own house. But it'll still take a while. He's surrounded by his friends, and the gathering is still going on. You should just go to bed and rest. Hearing his secretary's words, a fire lit up inside me. He had left me behind to roam around with his secretary. Was he planning to marry her? That very thought shattered me. I stopped eating and burst into tears. Golraiz, who had been standing quietly in the back, quickly rushed over to me. Seeing me cry like that, he asked with concern, BBG, what happened? Please tell me, is everything all right? You were crying earlier this afternoon too. Is Sir okay? I didn't respond to Golraiz. So he gently said, BBG, small arguments happen in every household. There's nothing to worry about. Everything will be okay eventually. I shook my head in sorrow and replied through my tears, I don't think anything will be okay. He has already decided to bring another woman into my life as my co-wife. My heart was so heavy, my mind so troubled, that I ended up saying something to Golraiz that I never thought I could say to anyone. Through tears, I told him the truth, that I cannot become a mother. And because of that, my husband wants to marry someone else. Hearing this, Golraiz was shocked. He immediately ran to bring me some water. He handed me the glass and gently said, don't worry, madam, every problem has a solution. Surely a way will be found for this too. I shook my head while crying and leaned back into the chair. You know, Golraiz, I said, I've been to every big hospital in the city. I've seen all the top doctors, but they all say there's nothing wrong, no issue, no illness. They don't even prescribe any treatment. They just say, when it is God's will, you will have a child. But how do Ramiz understand that? He's consumed by his desire for a child. And for that reason, he's ready to leave me and marry someone else. Golraiz looked at me with eyes full of sympathy and said, you love Sir so much. You care for him so deeply. How can he do this to you? I closed my eyes and said, you know, Golraiz, he's the one for whom I broke every barrier the world threw at me. I crossed all my limits for him. If your Sir leaves me now, I will die. I have no other place to go. Golraiz sat down at my feet and gently asked, BBG, where are your family members? As soon as he mentioned my family, tears began to roll down my cheeks. Moments from the past started flashing before my eyes. I was the only daughter of my parents. They loved me immensely. For my sake, they sacrificed every desire of their own. They got me admitted into the biggest school in the city. Whatever wish I uttered, my father fulfilled it instantly. He never reminded me that we were a middle-class family or questioned how my big demands could be met. The moment a word came out of my mouth, he treated it as his final command. As I grew up, I began attending college. My father got me enrolled in a prestigious college in the city. That's where I met Ramiz. Ramiz didn't study at our college. He used to wait outside, since some of his friends were students there. Ramiz saw me for the first time outside the college, and from that day, he began following me. His big car, his elegant attire, his deep black eyes. I was drawn to him on my own. Then when he started expressing his love over and over again, I didn't even realize when I had fallen for him. I was madly in love with Ramiz. My heart longed to have him in my life, no matter what. So at my insistence, Ramiz sent a proposal for me, but I was shocked beyond words when my father outright rejected it. I told him I loved Ramiz, but still my father didn't agree. He said, "He's the son of a rich landlord. He's extremely wealthy. People like him don't stay committed to one woman for long, especially from the kind of family he belongs to. In that family, women are replaced quickly. Ramiz may marry once within his family, but beyond that, he'll have many more outside of it. We can't control that." Hearing my father's words, I was stunned. I said, "But Abba, not all men are the same. Yes, he's rich, I agree, but he loves me dearly too." Hearing me, my father smiled and said, "You don't know people like them. Their elders always make sure at least one marriage happens within the family, whether you know it or not, and one day you'll regret it." My father firmly refused to let me marry Ramiz. When Ramiz found out about this, he created an uproar. He said, "I will marry only you. I haven't married anyone in my family, nor will I. You alone will be my wife." When he insisted on his point, I made up my mind that whatever happens, I would marry him. And then I married Ramiz through a court marriage. My father, who loved me immensely, I had stabbed him in the back. After the wedding, when I went to my father's house, he rejected me outright. I had been missing for 4 whole days, and during those days, gossip and shame had spread throughout the town and among our relatives. Ramiz didn't allow me to meet my parents immediately. He said, "If you go back too soon, your father will separate us." That's why he kept me with him for 4 days. When I finally went back home, it was too late. My father shoved me out of the house. That day, my parents' home, my family, was lost to me forever. But Ramiz treated me with so much love and care. He took good care of me, and I felt that maybe life was improving. Those days made me forget the pain of being apart from my parents. I was happy with Ramiz's love, and for the first time, I thought that perhaps everything was going to be okay. Then one day, Ramiz suddenly started insisting on having children. He repeatedly said, "I want a child. I need an heir." I became worried. Time passed, and a year went by, but I was still not able to become a mother. Ramiz's attitude began to change. He started pressuring me to allow him to marry again. Now, he bluntly told me, "If you don't give me a child in 3 months, I'll divorce you and marry someone else." When I heard this, it felt like the ground beneath me was slipping away. I broke down in front of Gorez and cried uncontrollably. He quietly listened to me. Once I finished talking, he gently said, "Madam, I have a solution for this problem. If you want, you can have children." Hearing this, I was startled. "Tell me, Gorez, what is the solution? I've tried everything, doctors, prayers, charms. I've done everything, yet no success." He replied, "Madam, leave it to me. Tomorrow I will solve your biggest problem." Before I could ask anything more, I heard the horn of Ramiz's car. He had returned. Gorez quickly picked up the dishes and went into the kitchen, and I went to my room. A short while later, Ramiz came into the room. He looked very tired, but his face showed happiness. He threw his coat onto the bed, took off his shoes, and hummed as he went to the bathroom. I quickly went up to him and asked, "Where were you? I called you, and your secretary picked up the phone." Ramiz glared at me and said, "Stop spying on me. If you want to do something, give me the happiness of having children." Saying this, he threw a shoe into the air, which landed far away and went into the bathroom. My heart sank with the blow of those words. Now, if I asked him anything, he would simply demand a child in return. The next day, Ramiz slept in late, while I spent the whole night tossing and turning, switching from one side to the other. My heart and mind were restless, constantly wondering what would happen next. Would Ramiz marry his secretary, or would he bring another woman into my life as his second wife? And what if he divorced me as well? Where would I go? I couldn't find peace for even a single moment. I waited impatiently for Ramiz to leave for work so I could ask Gorez about the method that would help me conceive. Around 2 p.m., Ramiz finally left for work, and I immediately went to Goraiz and asked, "Tell me the method that will help me become a mother." Goraiz smiled and said, "You wait in your room. Tonight the master will not be home. I will come to talk to you later." There are many other servants around right now who tell the master everything. We don't want any problems. Hearing Goraiz, I quickly took 2 steps back because he was right. The other servants were old and loyal to Ramiz. Most of them were from his village, and if Ramiz found out anything, it would create problems for me. He couldn't bear the presence of another man near me. That's why I went back to my room. Ramiz had told me he would return tomorrow morning, so I was alone that night. Around 11 p.m., Goraiz came into my room, and I was startled because he was holding 2 glasses of milk. He drank 1 glass and then his condition seemed to change. He turned to me and said, "Madam, you should drink the milk too." But I refused and said, "Tell me the method. What is it that will help me become a mother?" Goraiz put a finger on his lips, signaling me to stay quiet. Then he stood up, closed the door, and sat down next to me. He said, "Madam, I want to tell you something very important, but I didn't have the courage to tell you while I was sober. That's why I drank the milk with the cannabis in it. Now I can tell you something that will change your life." And then Goraiz slowly revealed something that completely changed my world. He said, "The problem is not with you, it's with your husband. I come from the same village as your husband, but I'm not loyal to him. I serve his elder brother. Your husband's elder brother sent me here to create a rift between you two. When your husband married you, it caused a scandal in the village. Then, when your husband refused to marry another girl from his family, his elder brothers broke ties with him. But deep down, they wanted Ramiz to reunite with them because it was a matter of land. The lands were jointly owned by all the brothers, so they didn't want any fights between them. For a long time, they tried to convince Ramiz to somehow leave me, but when Ramiz refused, they sent me here to create misunderstandings between the two of you. I was young, handsome, and that's why my master said that if I could control you, then Ramiz would divorce you himself because he is an honor-bound man. I came here with this intention, but when I saw you crying and noticed the struggle between you and Ramiz, I got disturbed. There was no love between you two, which contradicted all the stories I had heard about you in the village. Then, when you told me everything yesterday, I felt very sorry. I couldn't bear the thought that I might be the cause of a divorce between a husband and wife, especially for a girl who had already shut the doors of her own home. What would happen if I closed the doors of your husband's house too? This thought troubled me, and that's why I told you that I could give you the happiness of becoming a mother. The reason you couldn't conceive was the medicine I had been giving Ramiz for some time. Please forgive me. I was forced to do this by my master, and he explained that he had been mixing a special medicine in Ramiz's milk, which was preventing him from becoming a father. He apologized and said that he would stop giving Ramiz the medicine. He was burdened by guilt and confessed his wrongdoing to me. He said, "You can forgive me or you can punish me, but remember that Ramiz's family will stop at nothing to separate you two someday." After hearing Goraiz's words, I told him that if it was true, he should admit it to his master right away and reveal everything. I wanted the truth to come out so my life could finally be set right. Goraiz agreed to this. When Ramiz returned the next morning, Goraiz revealed everything to him. Ramiz was shocked, and he immediately apologized for his behavior and had a big argument with his brothers. Ramiz then hired Goraiz to work for him because his elder brothers no longer wanted him. My relationship with my husband improved, and 2 months later, I received the happy news that I was going to be a mother. Maybe it was meant to happen at that time because, though Goraiz had only entered our lives recently, we had been enduring the pain of not having children for a year. Maybe it was destined that Ramiz's family's truth would come out in this way. After I became pregnant, I went to my parents' house once again. This time, my parents accepted me. They missed me a lot, and I also realized my mistakes. I apologized to them deeply. Today, everything is right in my life, but somewhere Goraiz played a role in this. If it weren't for him, I may never have seen the life I now experience. Perhaps I wouldn't have valued my parents as much. Maybe Ramiz wouldn't have realized how badly he had treated me. But now, when everything is fine, I have forgiven both Ramiz and Goraiz in my own way.